looking at Freddy Peralta right now, if you're dead in the water at the trade deadline, you can still use him as a trade chip. Yes, I understand that he's not an extremely efficient pitcher, but teams are going to want a guy like Freddy Peralta. He's extremely durable. He can get guys out. He's a smart pitcher, and you can get a pretty decent haul for him. We mentioned it earlier in the show. This organization is pretty good at player development. You get some young guys for Freddy Peralta, and if you really are enamored with him, you sign him in the offseason. There's always that other opportunity, kind of like an Aroldis Chapman situation when they went to the Cubs and then the Yankees signed him back again. So, I mean, there are other options. I just don't think I think it's almost a waste to keep him on the roster if there's no need for him necessarily, because the Mets aren't going anywhere.
Absolutely, they got to put him up for sale. I mean, I don't know if you're going to get a haul for him because he's a rental, but he's a guy that can, he doesn't go deep into games, but he can go out and shut down any lineup when he's right. So a team like getting to the postseason is going to look at that, say maybe let's go get him. But the Mets don't have a lot of guys they're going to be able to trade for bring back much value. So I think you got to try and maximize that with a guy like Peralta.
Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. And unfortunately, the way the season has played itself out, think about it. The Mets are probably going to get back less in return for Freddy Peralta than they gave up for him. 2 top 100 prospects
Sprode
at the time
been very good,
with Sprode and Jed Williams. But they're going to bet into the upside, though, right? And Williams hasn't even come up. But the point is that, like, we've seen what Freddy Peralta is. And to me, and I even thought when they acquired him, I think in a perfect world, if you're dead set on being a legit playoff contender, Freddy Peralta is no better than a number 3 on a team like that, in my opinion. Like, if you think you have championship aspirations, that's where Peralta would slide in.
When he's on, though, he can really shut teams down.
When he's on, but again, like this 5 and fly stuff, Harp,
you
need more than that. And to me, that's not an upper rotation guy.
Can you pitch into the 6th and 7th? Anyway.
I know, unfortunately, but again, I need a little bit more from a guy who was advertised as an ace when they got him.
He, to me, has been one of the biggest disappointments this year. We all talk about the offense and not being able to score. I had high expectations for him, especially the vibes. Now, maybe I was miscalculating because he's never been a guy to go deeper into games, but Jalen Brunson was never a star until he came into the Knicks. They paid him thinking he was going to be a star. Well, the Mets traded for Peralta. I'm thinking, okay, well, now they should be able to maximize him and maybe turn him into a guy who can become more of a legitimate ace, especially coming off the year he did a year ago. He's been disappointing. They have desperately needed him, dating back to his start against the Cubs, where I thought they're going to turn the season around. So I don't even, my point is, I like Peralta personally, seems like a great guy. I don't even know if I want him back. You're going to have to overpay for a guy
that kind of money.
It's just the other day in Miami, he finally goes 7, but he gives up 3 runs early, and they're behind. You can't do that when you're going to be a stopper and stop a losing streak.
100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do like Peralta a lot, but there's also, the situation of when you are playing on a bad team. Sometimes you tend to also struggle as well. I mean, this is a difficult situation for Peralta to come into. He is a vibes guy. He is someone who feeds off of his teammates, and that clubhouse is depressing right now. And I know that psychological aspect of things is not really discussed, but it's actually a thing, especially with pitchers.
Right, and that's why I love good vibe guy, always smiling. I love that about him. I just think he's been terribly disappointing. Dan, you touched upon the return that the Mets might get for him. If Schoolbowl is hurt and he's not on the trade market, I mean, pitchers are hard to come by. There's going to be a team that might be willing. We've seen this every year. Peralta's value could then increase.
Right. I mean, that's what you have to hope for, right? Because we're still 2 months away from the deadline on August the 3rd, I think it is this year. So, right, depending how the rest of the market kind of shakes itself out, he could be one of those names that ends up being the most coveted on the market. But based on his performance, I mean, if this is the guy you're going to see for the next 2 months, I mean, I don't care what front office you are, unless you are absolutely super desperate, like your job is on the line, I don't think you're overpaying for a guy like this.
Hey, proven in the postseason, high vibes guy. You know what I'm saying? He's pitched in New York. He can handle a big market, at least early on.
This is David Stern selling
I got
credit.
you. I'm trying to raise that value, baby.